in at number 10, we have fairies. Fairies, yes, I knew it. Ever since Tinkerbell told me that believing in fairies keeps them alive, I'm like, alright Tinkerbell, I'll do it for you. I'm down to believe. Even if I do believe in them, I guess I kind of believe in them in like a Loch Ness monster kind of way. Like sure, there's no evidence and sure it's a work of fantasy, but I want them to be real because I want magic to be real. So there. So good news, it seems that lecturer John Hyatt actually caught a picture of fairies on camera as they flew in the Rossendale Valley of Lancashire in the UK. The 53-year-old university professor claims that he snapped the images while photographing the landscape. He insists that his photos are genuine. He said that they do seem to capture tiny winged humanoids. Talking of his incredible discovery, he said, "I went out afterwards and took pictures of flies and gnats and they just don't look the same. People can decide for themselves what they are. The message to people is to approach them with an open mind. I think it's one of those situations where you need to believe to see." He also said that there are stranger things in life than fairies and that life grows everywhere. I don't know though, what do you guys think? Do you think that they're fairies? Do you believe in fairies? Let me know. From fairies to the one and only Dobby.
Coming in at number 9, we have the powder of sympathy. This was a form of sympathetic medicine that was used in the 17th century. Basically, this special powder was put on a weapon that inflicted a person a wound, and it was said to heal the injury. Yeah, you heard me. The treatment was placed on the weapon, not the actual wound. So the powder was made up of green vitriol that was first dissolved in water and then afterwards recrystallized in the sun. Apparently, the Duke of Buckingham healed his secretary who was suffering from gangrene by soaking his bloody bandage in this solution. I don't know, it just sounds crazy to me. Moving on to number 8, we have the cuts and broken bones. Back in the day, it was fairly common for humans to get scrapes, cuts, or to break their bones. That's because they would have to compete with animals for food, as well as run away from animals who were their natural predators. So if they did get a cut, obviously they didn't have band-aids back then, so they would use mud. Once the wet mud or clay was put on a person's skin, it would dry up and seal the wound. For broken bones, clay was also used. The broken bones were cased in a pot made from mud. It's pretty resourceful if you ask me. In our 7th spot, we have the painkillers. Imagine going through a massive surgery nowadays without painkillers or getting a headache and not being able to cure it with Advil. It would suck pretty badly, right? Well, back in the day, early humans actually had painkillers. They used poplar. Poplar is a plant that contains salicylic acid, which has pain-relieving, anti-inflammatory, and temperature-lowering effects. After studying dental calculus on the teeth of Neanderthals, they found traces of poplar, suggesting they ate this plant in low doses as a painkiller. In our 6th spot, we have the animal cure. So according to the ancient Egyptians, a number of animals had natural curing properties. For example, lizard blood would be used as a topical ointment, whereas dead mice were used as bandages. Not only that, but horse saliva was said to cure a woman's sex drive. So women with a low libido were often doused in horse saliva. How great does that sound? Did it actually work? Who knows? But the Egyptians thought so. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the animal dung. So like I just mentioned, animals were thought to have curing properties. In fact, their poop was thought to be a cure-all. So Egyptian physicians would use donkey, gazelle, dog, and even human dung in their remedies. It was thought to be good for healing and to ward off bad spirits. However, it would seem as if most of the times people would develop tetanus and other infections after using excrement on their body. But believe it or not, research shows that the microflora found in some types of animal feces actually contains antibiotic substances. So there you go. They were definitely onto something there. In our 4th spot, we have corpse medicine. Sounds gross, and that's because it definitely is gross. Back in the day, an elixir was given to people suffering from persistent headaches, muscle cramps, or stomach ulcers. What was in this magic elixir, you say? Well, human flesh, blood, or bone. This was called corpse medicine and was around for hundreds of years. So back in the day, Romans thought the blood of fallen gladiators would cure epilepsy. So when a Roman gladiator lost their life, their blood was collected and then sold as medicine. The Romans believed that the warrior's blood had magical powers. Sometimes they would even take out the warrior's liver and eat them raw, again thinking that this would cure them. In the 12th century, people would grind up mummies looted from Egypt and make something called mummy powder, which was also supposed to have healing properties. Now, the type of medicine that you received depended on your ailment. For example, if you suffered from headaches, you'd be given a treatment made out of a dead person's skull. If you had muscle aches, you'd be given human fat, so on and so on. In fact, people would attend executions just so that they could collect a cup of fresh human blood. Moving on to number 3, we have the Babylonian skull cure. During ancient Babylonian times, most illnesses were thought to be caused by a demonic entity or were a form of punishment from the gods who were angered by your wrongdoings. Therefore, the doctors back then acted more as priests or exorcists instead of actual doctors. So when people were sick, they would perform magical rituals to cure them. For example, let's say that you had a bad habit of grinding your teeth at night. The doctor would then make you sleep by a human skull for a week as a way to exorcise the spirit that was causing you to grind your teeth. They thought maybe a spirit was trying to contact you in your sleep. Anyways, this treatment gets even more messed up. Aside from the sleeping next to the skull, the individual had to also kiss and lick the skull 7 times each night. Yes, you heard me correctly. I'm just glad that we no longer practice this because I'm constantly grinding my teeth at night. Moving on to number 2, we have bloodletting. Thousands of years ago, early humans believed that sickness was a result of bad blood. So what way to cure this than to get rid of the bad blood inside of you? Hence why the practice bloodletting became a thing. It's said that this practice started with the ancient Sumerians and Egyptians, but didn't become a common practice until the classical Greece and Rome time period. Hippocrates and Galen believed that the human body was filled with 4 substances: yellow bile, black bile, phlegm, and blood. If they got sick, they believed that that meant that the person had bad blood. So they would cut a person's vein and drain some of the blood. In other cases, they would use leeches to suck the bad blood directly out from their skin. Which, obviously it's a risky business to just cut a vein, and as a result, a number of people accidentally bled to death. And in our number 1 spot today, we have trepanning. Back in the day, when people suffered from seizures or migraines or mental health issues, they were treated by a procedure called trepanning, which basically involved drilling a hole into the human skull. It's said that this would free the victim of the demon or evil spirits inside of them, causing them these issues. Scientists first discovered this procedure after analyzing cave paintings from the prehistoric people. After the procedure was complete, if the person was still alive, they would actually keep the part of the skull as a good luck charm. This is said to be one of the oldest forms of surgery in history.
Coming in at number 10, we have Tiger Man. Proof that drugs will send you nuts. A man identified as Marek H. from the Czech Republic was caught on camera leaping on all 4s naked through the Polish forest in the Czech-Poland border in December 2016. Police were given the footage by foresters who were hoping to catch a glimpse of some wildlife on cameras they had set up in the forest. When police found Marek, they found that he had taken the hallucinogenic drug LSD. It was said that he traveled some 15 miles, believing he was a Siberian tiger. From one tiger to another, this human who believed he was an animal sadly passed away in 2012. Number 9. What do you do when Dobby turns up at your door? Like, I personally would let him in. Dobby went viral in June 2019 when Twitter user JB tweeted this footage with the caption, "A lady posted this and said she saw this on her home camera this morning. What you'll think it is?" The internet was quick to respond with the late great house elf. Dobby is a free elf. In just 1 week, this video got 31 million views. Now, the footage was shot on CCTV camera outside Vivian Gomez's home, and as of yet there isn't an explanation to what actually was going on. The only thing is though, it can't be actual Dobby because J.K. Rowling famously killed him in the books, but perhaps it's Creature or Winky or another house elf looking for lols and to charm your puddings. Coming into number 8, we have the alien in the park. Who dis? In February 2017, a bizarre piece of footage of an alien man strolling through a park was circulated across the internet. The image was actually captured in 2004 and was given to ufologists to study. Photographer German Pereira took the snap, and it actually kind of is a blurry image of two mounted police officers on horses. They only noticed the little creature when he uploaded the image to his computer. He said, "I was really impressed, that's all. I saw it with a colleague and we found it odd. It's rather shocking." He continued by saying, "I'd never had any experience of this type, nor was any way involved in UFOs or alien matters." Well, 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 what a mystery. It does look like a little alien out for a stroll. Do you think it's an alien, or do you think it's something else? And if so, what is it? Coming into number 7, we have the rotating statue. Do you know what? I don't mess with ancient Egypt, I just don't. There was some bad juju back then, and I feel like we don't even know the half of it. Back in 2013, Manchester Museum in the UK made an alarming discovery, a 4,000-year-old statue of Nubu Sanu that was found in a tomb. They saw that it would rotate of its own accord, and mysteriously would stop moving at night. Creepy, very mysterious. Have a look at the footage captured. I don't like that. Like I said, I do not mess with Egypt. When I think of mummies in ancient Egypt, I think of the curse of the pharaohs, so I really wouldn't be upping into this statue's grill. It turns out though that actually the mysterious spinning was down to vibrations on the floor when visitors were coming into the museum building, which is why the statue would turn during the day and then not at night. I don't know though, I think something strange is afoot. Coming in at number 6, we have the time traveller. Ah, this old chestnut. This one makes its way into a lot of discussions about unexplained things, as well as debates about time travellers. Basically, back in 1928, Charlie Chaplin made a circus movie, and it seems as if one of the featured extras is a time traveller on a cell phone. If this footage was from the modern day, the first thing that you would notice is that it's in black and white and it's kind of grainy. Old. You actually would probably pay little attention to the woman in the background who's clearly on her mobile phone. Like I said though, you probably wouldn't see her because she's walking behind a zebra. If anything, the zebra absolutely steals the focus here because, nay. Do they nay? I don't think they do. But I say slow the footage down, and actually the woman does look distinctly odd. 90 years in the past, and she's talking into a portable phone, which is utterly bizarre. At this time in history, mobile phones wouldn't be available for another 70 or so years. Even with the early cell phones of the 1980s, they were pretty chunky. Is this woman a time traveller? If she isn't, then why is she holding her hand up to her ear? To this day, this mystery footage hasn't been resolved. Coming into number 5, we have the Earth breathing. The Earth is alive, that's a fact, but I didn't realise it was this alive. Back in November 2015, Manuel Petitat uploaded footage of the Earth breathing in Nova Scotia. The footage was shot by Brian Nuttall and was watched over 9 million times. Let's have a look. Oh my goodness. One more look. Wow. Speaking of wow, coming into number 4, we have God. Absolute God, but firm question mark there for me. Or is it some other kind of cloud walker? Back in 2018, a woman in Tuscaloosa in Alabama was videoing a stormy sky, saying that the power was out. She then uploaded the video to Facebook, but astonished friends spotted something moving in the clouds. Solo Dolo, yes that is her name, became convinced that she had inadvertently captured God. She then wrote on the post, "If you are a non-believer in the Lord, don't even worry about it. Now I want y'all to take a closer look at this video around 2:38 and tell me what you see in the hole in the cloud. You cannot tell me that God ain't real. To see this is to believe this." Coming into number 3, we have the mermaid. Now I actually talked about this recently in another most amazing top 10 video about real life characters caught on camera, and actually I'm still thinking about this one. It doesn't seem like a fake to me. If it was a hoax, it was utterly elaborate. If it's a real picture, well, something very mysterious is going on. Have a look at this image. This is the so-called active past mermaid snapped by a ferry passenger in British Columbia in the 1960s. The mermaid was on Main Island in full view of ferry passengers who reported a mermaid holding a large fish, possibly a salmon. The photo was published in the Daily Colonist newspaper, and shortly after, a man actually flew over the area in a light aircraft to try and spot the creature for himself. It's said that he also saw her sitting on a rock. Was it a woman who managed to reach the remote area on her own and sat wearing a fake tail, or was it actually a mermaid? You let me know. Coming into number 2, we have the Phantom car. I'm sorry, but I have to say this one absolutely vexes me. This footage was allegedly caught on a Russian police officer's dash cam and features what can only be described as a disappearing car. Is it the DeLorean? That's what I'm thinking. The footage starts as the car is turning left. Now, we can see the traffic at a standstill on the right when all of a sudden a car comes from nowhere, like literally, actually nowhere. I'm just gonna slow that down for you and let you watch it again so you can see how absolutely crazy it is. Like, honestly, where did it come from other than, I don't know, I'm thinking a parallel universe? Or it's a ghost car. Are ghost cars real? Are they things? Uploaded to YouTube by Rose Adams, this video has been watched well over 1 million times, and by the look of the comments, a lot of people are just as confused as me. I don't know how you fake that kind of thing. I guess we've got some film buffs out there watching who can let me know. But to me, I'm like, what? Alright, now, settle in and settle down, because we have a helping of both horror and mystery at number 1. We have the whole Dear David saga. The story starts with illustrator Adam Ellis, who in 2017 began documenting the strange things going on in his apartment and posting them to Twitter. It started when Adam had a dream about a boy with a misshapen head, and he soon came to the conclusion that actually he was being haunted by the same presence. He said that he had been getting bouts of dizziness and started feeling, and I quote, a palpable sense of malice which he associated with David being nearby. In one of his dreams, the name Dear David came to him, and he was warned that he may try and kill him. Again, Adam was revealing all of this on Twitter, and a lot of people were following along as updates came in. It wasn't just Adam who was freaked out. People were freaked out. He was freaked out. It was a weird situation, right? He felt like he needed some proof that he wasn't crazy or like suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning. So he decided to download an app on his phone that takes a photo every 60 seconds. Now, he did this in a bid to capture more of David. And capture him he did. He woke up with around 350 photos to scroll through. Now, after the first 100 or so, you guessed it, David finally showed up and appeared to be at the foot of the bed, sitting on a sofa and staring at Ellis while he slept. He was then staring at the ceiling. Then he came closer to Ellis, staring down directly at him. Then after a while he isn't there anymore until the last picture in the scroll where the camera caught this. No. That's what I say to Dear David, no. The picture shows a golem-like head with a malformed ear and very light stringy hair. Following the incident, Adam had been hearing some pretty weird noises coming from the attic. He noticed that there was a hatch above the staircase, and he contacted his landlord, asking him if he could take a look around. The landlord found some green marble that had a bump on the side, which strangely resembled Dear David's head crater. So what do you guys think to the images of David caught on camera? Ghost or nah? Honestly, I'm pretty terrified. Apparently they're actually turning this whole saga into a movie, and I don't know if I'm brave enough to watch it. I don't know.
Starting off this countdown, we have geophagy. This is a practice in which early humans would eat dirt in order to heal themselves. It all started when they saw animals eating clay and dirt, and they were like, if it doesn't make them sick, let's try and eat it as well. Maybe they're eating it for a reason, and we should be too. So whenever people were sick, they would eat dirt or clay. Doubt that it tasted very good, and not sure what it really did for their bodies, but they did it.
Meet Dennis Anver, an American of native descent who preferred to go by his Native American name, Stalking Cat. Stalking Cat said that his earliest memories were wondering where his tail was. He said he identified with a totem of a female tiger, and he had 14 surgeries to make him resemble the tigress. He also wore cat-eye contact lenses and a robotic tail. Stalking Cat was a member of the prominent furry community, a group of people really interested in anthropomorphic animal characters. Stalking Cat sadly passed away in 2012 of an apparent suicide. Coming into number 8, we have the woman who thinks like a cow. Dr. Temple Grandin, a famous autistic author, claims to be able to understand animals' thoughts and especially identifies with cows. Temple believes that she experiences life just like a cow, displaying simpler emotions than other human beings. Temple's story was told in a 2006 BBC documentary called The Woman Who Thinks Like a Cow. Since then, she has gone on to be very active in the fight for animal welfare, and in 2010, she was named one of Time magazine's top 10 most influential heroes. Next up at number 7, we have a boy raised by monkeys. John Sasbunya was abandoned aged 2 in the dense Ugandan jungle. 3 years later, he was found, having miraculously survived his ordeal. Luckily for the boy, a group of green African monkeys stumbled across him and raised him as their own. They taught him how to climb trees and survive off a diet of nuts and fruit. One day in 1991, the monkeys went to a Ugandan village to scavenge, and John was spotted naked and behaving like an animal by a village woman. When the villagers tried to rescue him, he became scared, climbed a tree, and threw sticks at them. Meanwhile, his monkey family protectively surrounded him. Eventually, John was taken to an orphanage and he learned to speak, finding out that he actually had an excellent singing voice. He eventually joined the Pearl of Africa Children's Choir. So back to felines for number 6, we have Nano the cat. In 2016, a video was released on YouTube featuring a 20-year-old woman from Norway who believes that she is a cat. The video has been watched over 4 million times, and in it, we hear from Nano, who says that she was born with a genetic defect and came to the realization she was a cat aged 16. Speaking to a reporter as she wears ears and a tail, Nano says that she has a heightened sense of hearing, hates water, can communicate using purrs and meows, and often finds herself hissing at dogs. Nano says she likes to sleep in the sink and on windowsills. She also likes looking out of the window and has tried to catch mice, although as of yet she has been unsuccessful. From a cat to a goat, coming in at number 5. Meet the man who took a holiday from being a human. In 2014, the then 33-year-old graphic designer Thomas Thwaites decided to take off from his life in the UK to join a herd of goats in the Swiss Alps. Making himself a practical goat costume, he started walking with a herd who initially didn't take to him, but luckily he soon made friends. Thomas would sniff the goats and graze with them, spitting out his grass into a container and later pressure cooking it to eat. Thomas had originally wanted to transform into an elephant, but realized his limitations as a small, feeble human made it a pipe dream, so goat it was to be. Meet the teenage wolf pack, coming in at number 4. In 2010, Hens 5 News ran a segment on a group of teenagers in San Antonio, USA, who believed they were part of a real-life wolf pack. The high school students called themselves the Crimson Blood Wolf Pack and believed they were werewolves. The group wore tails to school, called each other family, and would meet under the light of a full moon. The teenagers would howl and bark and display pack-like behavior. Some even had fangs installed and wore wolf-like contact lenses. From wolves to a parrot, coming in at number 3, we have the man who wants a beak. In 2015, Ted Richards appeared on the Jeremy Kyle Show. At that point, the 58-year-old had his ears removed so he could look more like a parrot than he already did. Not only did Ted have a number of colourful facial tattoos to look like feathers, he said his next procedure would be to turn his nose into a beak. Ted said that he has 5 parrots that sleep in the same bed as him, and he considers them to be his family. The Bristolian has even had his eyeballs inked to be more bird-like. Coming in at number 2, we have a woman who considers herself to be a horse. In 2014, news publication The Daily Mail ran a story about 40-year-old woman named Leanne from Australia's Gold Coast. She regularly dressed up as a horse and goes galloping. When Leanne transforms into her horse self, she likes to go by the name of Cheyenne and pulls her friend Grace in a trap behind her. This isn't just a case of horsing around. Leanne, a horse owner herself, says she feels more at one with herself when she becomes Cheyenne. She also said she views her horses as equals and was investing in a human-sized stable for her backyard so that she could spend more time as a horse. Coming in at number 1, finally, our next group of humans who believe there are animals are quite controversial. Yep, that's right, coming in at number 1, we have a group of human puppies. Puppy Play is a BDSM group of people, usually men, who dress in latex dog suits eat from dog bowls, drink water from dog bowls, and expect regular walks and tickles from their owners. Yes, owners. They call them handlers. The puppy play group like to go on walks in public parks and simulate peeing up lampposts. One member of the group, called Kaz, said he was happy to finally be able to express his inner pup. He said, "When I worked in PC World, I would sometimes walk up to people and nip at their shirt. I got in trouble once. Someone walked into the PC repair center and I had part of their dad's computer in my mouth." Some people are not so into the concept though, as a few of the puppy play group have had sexual relations with their handlers who enjoyed bestiality fetishes, which, I mean, no comment. So guys, that was the top 10 humans who think that they're animals. Did you enjoy this list? What kind of animal would you guys want to be if you could be any animal? I think I'd enjoy being a bird, but only if I was actually a bird, not a human being a bird. Although maybe for Halloween.